directed by the President of the United States to deliver to the United States Senate a message in writing.
The message will be received.
Veto message to accompany S1, a bill to approve the Keystone XL pipeline approval act.
I ask unanimous consent that the veto message on S1 be considered as having been read, that it be printed in the record and spread in full upon the journal and held at the desk, and that the Senate proceed to its consideration at a time to be determined by the Majority Leader in consultation with the Democratic Leader, but no later than March the 3rd.
Now, what other show is going to show you behind the scenes of the formal delivery of the President's veto to the Senate? Special report. That's right. It happened. It's official. We knew it was coming. It happened today. Speaker Boehner issuing a statement saying the President's veto of the Keystone Jobs Bill is a national embarrassment. It's embarrassing when Russia and China are plowing ahead on two massive pipelines, and we can't get this one no-brainer of a project off the ground. Billionaire environmentalist Tom Steyer issuing a statement today. President Obama stood up to the Republican-controlled Congress by vetoing their attempt to force approval of the Keystone XL pipeline, fighting back against the fossil fuel special interests pushing for the pipeline. Now it's time for the President to stand up for our kids, our environment, and our economy by rejecting the Keystone XL pipeline once and for all. We're back with the panel. Okay, it is important to point out that this was legislation, AB. This was not the official designation by the administration, the State Department approval, the President's approval of the project, but he privately told governors apparently yesterday that this is not going to be built.
You know, this is no surprise. Everyone knew it was going to be vetoed. It was just a matter of when. The Republicans in Congress will not be able to come up with a veto-proof supermajority to override the veto. It's still a very good issue for Republicans who've had a very rough 2 months in their new majority in the Senate and expanded majority in the House. President Obama is actually using the checks and balances to argue that he can't do an end run around this procedure that needs to go through the State Department. He's protecting the executive branch. Meanwhile, the fight in Congress between Republicans about funding the Department of Homeland Security, which is involved with the issue of the executive immigration order, has to do with a battle with conservatives saying we can't relent and give this over to the president. Let him overreach so much that we are no longer a co-equal branch. And so it's a very interesting exercise in everyone trying to retain their positions. This is a bipartisan, non-controversial issue that the Republicans should stick with and keep throwing up for votes because it's far less toxic than the other things like healthcare, which they aren't going to be able to repeal.
So on the so-called amendments, the Christmas tree that could see a lot of ornaments, we may see the Keystone ornament numerous times.
Oh yeah, and they should do that.
Fox polls, the latest Fox poll on this issue, on the Keystone issue, President Obama on Keystone Pipeline, the legislation, sign it, veto it. There you see the breakdown. Charles.
The President's statement in the veto is astonishing. It gives two reasons why he had to exercise the veto. Number one, it conflicts with established executive branch procedures. There's a man who about a month ago signed with his pen the legalization of 5 million illegal aliens in contradiction to the statute, to the law, and to what he himself, Obama, had said at least a dozen times that it was unconstitutional and illegal. But he's concerned. Well, we can discuss that after. But it's, shall we say, at least a dozen times.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
A dozen or more. The other argument, he says he had to exercise the veto because of the thing that they passed in Congress, cut short thorough consideration of the issues. This is after 2,300 days of considering the issue. This is after 5 State Department reviews. You could have reviewed the Bible 11 times and done it in a shorter period of time. This has been the most reviewed pipeline in the history of pipelines. And he says that he can't allow the process to be cut short.
Well, I was struck by the same thing. The Manhattan Project took less time than the approval of Keystone Pipeline. Look, it is a no-brainer. Everything that